What's up everybody, Trinity here, and welcome back to the Second Street Marvel. In today's comic book review, I'm going to be reviewing two different books. That's right, two books. The first one I'm going to be reviewing is Folklords issue number 1 on Boom Studios, and then the next one I'm going to review is going to be Black Stars Above issue number 1 on Vault Comics. Now, before I get into all that, I want to give a huge shout out to my local comic book shop, Bases Cards and Comics, right here in Lancaster, California, for lending these books to me to bring you guys these reviews. And if you'd like to, you could go follow them on Instagram or even Facebook, and that's at Bases Cards and Comics. And they don't sell books or anything online. They're just a cool shop. Like I said, kick-ass shop that lent me these books to bring you guys these reviews. And no, they didn't sponsor this video or anything. Like I said, they're just a kick-ass local comic book shop. So as I said, first I'm going to be reviewing Folklords issue number 1 on Boom Studios. Now, take a look at that cover there. This book is being written by Matt Kindt. It's illustrated by Matt Smith. It's colored by Chris O'Halloran and lettered by the hardworking Jim Campbell. And Folklords is created by Matt Smith and Matt Kindt. And basically what we've got here is, this is it takes place in like medieval times, I guess you could say, like, a long time ago, okay? A long time ago. But what we see here at the beginning of the book, and here, I'll show you the opening title page and the opening page there with some art. We see Ansel here is getting ready to go out for a night on the town. He's checking himself in the mirror, getting ready, tightening his tie up. And, we hear his mother saying, "Hey, are you about ready?" And he's like, "Oh," she's like, "You're already late." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And she tells him, "You can be late tonight, but you can't be late tomorrow." And he's getting all ready to go, and, he's, getting ready to have a little meal or something before he goes off, and his mom's like, "You're going out dressed like that in those weird clothes?" And like I said, he's in a business suit, which is something that's gonna play kind of into the story here in just a minute. So, and he's like, "Yeah, just forget about it." So we see that he ends up running through the town here with all the townspeople looking at him, and that's where we first find out that pretty much everybody here is dressed like, like a bunch of peasants, back in medieval times. And he's the only one, and everybody's sitting there kind of staring at him. And there's a couple of people there in particular that are just kind of looking at him, with an odd eye. And then he ends up coming up to this stream that he has to cross to traverse to get there. And it's actually this boat that he has to take is basically being piloted, I guess you would say, or how would you say if you're rowing a boat? I don't know, guided or by a big troll. And so he takes him to this party, and it looks like it's up in this big tree house kind of looking place. It looks like a cool place. And then he gets there, and you can see that there's a bunch of the kids there just having a party and a celebration. And he's there with his friends. It looks like they're having some beers, having some drink, and just dancing around a fire, just having a good old time. You know what I'm saying? And he's there with his friends, and they're all talking about what quests they're gonna go on and things like that. And everybody's just kind of listing off their different things. And they get to Ansel, and he says, "I'm gonna go quest for the Folklords." And at that point, it's like, you hear like a record scratch, and everybody's standing there looking at him like, "Dude, what the hell?" And it kind of breaks the spirit in the room. And so he's like, "Yeah, forget it, man, you guys wouldn't know." So he goes outside, and he's sulking, and his little girlfriend comes out there and kind of comforts him. And I don't know that it's his girlfriend, but it's his female friend. It's a girl and it's a friend, right? Nah, come on. So she goes out there to ask, talk to him. She goes, "Hey, it's all good, but this quest you want to go on, it's insane, what's wrong with you?" And he's like, "I'm telling you, I had these visions. They're not even dreams. They're more like visions, and they're like real." And we get this little flash scene here of some of the things that he has visions about. So then next thing you know, he wakes up the next morning late, wakes up late, and he's late for this ceremony. And he gets to school, and he is there late, and it looks like it's like a graduation ceremony. All the kids are there talking about what their quests are going to be once they leave this graduation. And while he's sitting there waiting to go his turn, his friend actually gets up there and says, "I am questing to find the legendary Folklords." And at that point, that really breaks the tension in the room. And we see somebody in the background shouts, "Silence!" And then we see this, what they call the Guild of Librarians, who show up. and they pretty much break up the ceremony and say everything is done. They silence the kid and they say that's it. God, what is it they call it? They say this year's quest ceremony is hereby canceled. And so they come in, they silence the kid and say, okay, this is canceled. So all you kids just go and meet with so-and-so, and they're going to give you, the guild is going to give you what your quests are going to be. And naturally, this, kind of is upsetting to everybody, because at this point, the guild is handing out the quests and everybody's getting their quests like, dude, like what the hell is this, man? Like, I ain't going to go do this. Like, this is some bull crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody there is kind of upset as they're getting handed out their quests. And Ansel goes and asks his friend later. He's like, "Dude, what are you doing? That was what I was gonna do. That was my quest. What'd you go up there and do that for?" And so they're sitting there, kind of talking about it after like they've pretty much been silenced by this Guild of Librarians. Isn't it the Guild of Librarians? Yeah, the Guild of Librarians. They pretty much decide to go against their rules, and they both decide that they're going to go on this quest together. And they go to leave town, and they go to the troll, and the troll's like, I can't do what you're asking me to do. And they offer him a couple of they offer him a couple of, oh god, what was it they offered him? Like a couple of these meat pies. Oh, goat pies. They offer him 2 goat pies to let him, for him to take them to wherever they want to go on their quest. And that's pretty much where it leaves off with these friends going off into the wilderness here to seek out their quests. Altogether, guys, like, this book was actually really good. It was a very good setup for an issue number 1, and a very good setup for getting a second issue. Now, I'm not sure if you guys want me to continue reviewing this. Please let me know down in the comments below, and I can bring you guys some more reviews of this book. But I would say if you're into like that sort of thing, like a medieval tale, kind of like a medieval fantasy, I think this is one you might definitely want to check out. And again, it's on Boom Studios, and they put out some really nice books. Like the print and everything, the quality of the books they do there is really nice. And I kind of like that about the books that I've read out of Boom Studios, which has only been, well, 1 for sure. Oh, 2 of them that I know of for sure. And that's Something is Killing the Children and Once and Future. And that's all I've got for that review of Folklords. Now, the next one I'm going to be talking about is on Vault Comics. And this one is Black Stars Above, issue number 1. And this cover right here is actually this one they've been doing these Vault Vintage comics. This one's an homage to Frank Miller's Whiteout, issue number 1. And I got to tell you guys, this book right here is really good. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. Now, Black Stars Above is being written by Lonnie Nadler. It's illustrated by Jenna Cha. It's colored by Brad Simpson and lettered by Hassan Ostmane-Elhaou. I know I butchered his name, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that opening page there. And you can see right here on the first page after the title page, there's kind of like this like little poem, this little like excerpt there from it looks like a diary. And this book right here is a really good one. It's telling this story of this Native American girl named what is her name? Eulalie? Oh man, I forget what her name is. Her name is Eulalie. What did I get? I got that from the letterer, man. Her name is Eulalie, and she's a young lady growing up. It looks like she's growing up on the maybe not like the prairie. She's like growing up on a farm, a family farm. And we start off like there's just like this, kind of like a little flashback scene, and then we flash to her writing this story. It looks like she's like writing in a diary, telling about her life on the and she's like, I want to start this back on the 5th of December. 1887. And so she's going through, she's writing this tale. She's talking about basically getting ready to she's talking about it, like things aren't looking good. She's seemingly going to die of starvation and of cold, if not of cold, really. And talking about, she's got an infant baby there sitting next to her, and just kind of what she wants, what she wants to do next. You can tell she's really contemplating life. So she decides to start telling this story, and that she's writing here, probably memoirs that she wants to leave, just in case she dies and anybody finds it, about when she was younger. And we flash to the scene when she's younger there at their family house on their farm, talking with her mother just about things that are just going on there on their family farm. And we can see that she is half. She's half Native American. They're speaking in Michif. I'm not for sure. I probably butchered that, but they are a colony of just like a certain nationality of Native Americans that lived up around the Great Lakes, north, in the northern parts of North America, and just there into the Canadian border. And her father is French, so she's half Native American, half French, and we can see that they speak two different languages in this household, which they actually make note of here in the book. So her father speaks French, her mother speaks this Native American language, and obviously her father is obviously versed in speaking both of these languages here. So she's sitting there with talking with her mother, and her mother is saying, hey, can you go clean grandfather's leg? Like, it's starting to smell a little bit, and can you also make sure you finish chopping that wood? She got chores to do, you know what I'm saying? And she goes, if you clean his leg, I'll you can go ahead and make the run into town. And so she's like, okay. She goes and chops the wood and decides to go and clean her grandfather's leg. And he's missing half of his leg. And as she's sitting there cleaning it, a task she doesn't want to do because it's starting to smell, he's sitting there. He mistakes her for her mother, and she's like, hey, I'm not her. I'm Eulalie. And he's like, and he starts to tell her, he's like, did I ever tell you about how I lost this leg? And she's like, well, yeah, sure, you got it caught in a trap. And he's like, that's not true. I don't know where you heard that. And he goes on telling her the story about how he was, one day he was staying in this house. He was on this land, and I'm not sure if this was his house. I can't exactly remember. And then how he woke up one day and he was missing half of his leg, and these people had been there and basically chopped it off while he was sleeping, basically as payment for him trespassing on their land. And he was there, building a homestead and building these traps and everything for some of the wildlife out there. And that's what we get a lot here. And then then we see later here they're having dinner at their house with the family, and the father is talking to his daughter, just about how things are getting out there, and she's like, well, do you need some help out there? Like, I can come help you trap. He's like, it's not about that. He goes, basically, one of my colleagues, his son needs a daughter, or needs a wife, not a daughter. His son needs a wife. And, I think that it would be in all of our best interests if you went ahead and got married to him. And so basically they're setting up a marriage here, and she's not really into that. She's not hearing that. And so, we can see that they kind of get in a little bit of a fight about that. And as she's not happy about it, and they all sit down to dinner, and she kind of brings it up, and is sassing her father a lot about it, and he wasn't happy about it, and kind of put her in her place. You know what I'm saying? So then the next day we see that Eulalie goes to town to run these errands for the family, and she gets there to the trading post, and we can see the trading post is like, hey man, we're not taking these pelts anymore. We don't need these moccasins. We don't need that. He's like, but this last time I'll go ahead and take it, but after that, like, I can't take that. Like, what you have to trade is of no use to me. But you've also got a $2 credit as well. So she goes ahead and gets the supplies, and as she's leaving town, she comes across this stranger, and this stranger is sitting there, starts making conversation with her, and asks her if she can deliver this package because the local post office is closed, and he can't get to the train on time to get this package sent out, and it has to be sent out. And he's like, if you can deliver it, I will pay you $200. I can pay you 1/4 of it now, and the rest will be paid to you upon the delivery of this package. And he's like, can you go to this certain city that's north of all the trees, basically, go through the forest? And she's like, well, yeah, sure, of course. So she goes ahead and takes the money and goes back to the house. And that's when, and that's at the point where they have the dinner. I'm getting my timeline a little confused here. They have the dinner, and she goes to bed basically at odds with her father. And then we see what happens is she goes off on the quest. She leaves the house in the middle of the night to go deliver this package to this township, that she was being paid to by this stranger. And we see that she ends up going through the night, and it ends up getting really cold. It starts snowing. A storm starts coming in, and some of the story that's going on here we learn just through a little bit of the tale, like a little bit of the tale that's been being told here. So and we see that she ends up building a little tent for the night, making a little fire and falling asleep. And then it seems like she's getting ready to freeze to death. And as she's there freezing to death, or just coming to the point of freezing, she decides to open this package. One of the directions that she was actually told not to do is open the package. And the guy had told her, he's like, "I need this delivered." And he's like, "Believe me, I'll know if it doesn't get delivered or if it's opened by the time it gets there." And what happens, after she opens the box, is just some really odd things here as she opens this box, and she kind of sees, like, she has a flash of the future, of like the past, the future, and just things that are to come, just kind of, almost like you see your life flash before your eyes. Altogether, guys, this book is really good, and it's written like a novel, to be honest with you. It seems like it's really written more like a novel. The art in here, I really like. I mean, it's probably not art that everybody would like, but I think the art here was pretty nice, and is really well colored as well. And just some of these different scenes, I'll go ahead and show some of that off to you there. You can go ahead and check out. And here's a little bit more of the art, and a lot of the art is like this, like they're in, like I said, they're in, the olden times, and like it's dark out, it's overcast, it's getting ready to snow and everything. And again, really well written book. If you're wanting something like like a flashback, like an old Native American tale, that it sounds like, it looks like it has some sort of spiritual things going on here as well, I think this is definitely a book that you might want to check out. Again, guys, this is on Vault Comics. I myself have not ever read one bad title out of Vault Comics, and I think this is one that you guys should definitely go and check out if it sounds like a book that you might be into. Again, I thought it was a really good book. But let me know down in the comments below. Have you read Folklords issue number 1? Have you read Black Stars Above issue number 1? If so, let's talk about it down in the comments below. If not, let me know if it's something that you might be into reading. That's all I have for this video today, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Second Street Marvel. If you haven't already, please make sure you're subscribed and click the little bell and all of that good stuff, as it helps us fight the agents of Hydra who are constantly trying to bury us in that YouTube algorithm. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, feel free to give it a thumbs down, although that's a little weird. This is just a comic book review. But hey, to each their own, right? And while you're at it, make sure that you share it with a friend and invite them to come hang out with us here on the Second Street Marvel. You all have a very good day. Get out and support your local comic book shop. Happy reading, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.